I was postulating about the evolution of the soul the other day, or whether it was or not evolving, as different mindsets speculate from their diverse views or teachings. And then I thought about Robert Monroe and how I thought that he had lost it when he wrote in his second book about a place beyond in the far reaches of space and time, but not in the Star Trek kind of sense with a spaceship, but an astral body in an ethereal sense. Basically, he wrote that we are asleep or sheep for even though it looks that we are in control of our own lives, and that the government bodies nurture, organize, and rule the world, etc. However, what is really happening is that there is a superior alien species that governs those that govern us in their puppet state, and their purpose is to harvest and gather lush or love. As I say, at the time I thought that he had totally lost it, and I was almost embarrassed to be reading his book for some reason or other that I couldn't explain at the time. Nevertheless, I now know that denial comes before projection, and so it was I not he who was at fault for with today's understanding, i.e. Donald Hoffman, Philip Goff, Gary Renard, to name a few contemporary thinkers. One will take a different stance from today's philosophical mindset. In a nutshell, that far-off galaxy, if seen subtlety or interdimensionally, it could be synonymous or the same place as the actual latest discovery that can be located at 10 to the power of -33 within 1 cubit centimeter or 1 second, which is the latest scientific mathematical ethos. It was the same for me with Fritjof Capra in his book The Tao of Physics, when he said that we all create reality from our own mindsets, and that we all might not see the same reality outside of our conditioning. And Dana Zoa and Robert Anton Wilson in their books. The former the quantum self and the latter cosmic trigger, when they both wrote reality is what it is. And we all see the same reality. What is happening is that when consciousness and the wave are both in the sphere of observation, like that of the light box experiment, the energy of the wave collapses into a particle, thus forming our observational or epistemological reality. So a chair or a table is always a chair or a table in both states. So today it was obvious with my answer that I had evolved intellectually, and so I concluded that if I had evolved, so had my soul, and my answer was had. The football analogy. Within the game of football, of course, there is the idea that sparks desire, which leads to the game, location, and the stadium that comes alive on a Saturday night for the football season ahead. Now, the seasons are numerical in order from the fall to the spring in every season. And the teams that play each other go up and down the tables throughout the season in hope or fear of the outcome. The former that they get promoted and win the league or cup, or the latter that they get relegated into the lower leagues. And when one compares this to life's game at grassroots, one can see that along with the above, that good management, hindsight, and a generous and ambitious sponsor are the correct tickets that lead to heaven. At first, there is the idea of football. In reality, this is the dawn of creation. Then the cogs and wheels are set in motion, giving us the space-time continuum. And push leads to shove as biff to buff. And this leads to this and that, which leads to life, evolution. Then humanity, as Nietzsche's will to power, motivates self-control. As the humans gain power, and evolutionary gameplay comes into fruition along with Freud's pleasure principle. And self-control gives one clarity of mind so one can contain the ebbs and flow of incompleteness theory that is not that dissimilar to evolution. As the competition or neoflux updates, harmonizes or creates winners that leads to focus and disciplines, which stills the emotions. And the ego witnesses the spirit and intellect that is housed within the higher self, and the two selves fall in love and communion is sought. Then the two hearts merge, beat together as one. Then the ego and the spirit with moderation and recollection contain and harmonize the individual and one free evolving soul. For me, the soul both evolves or develops through its karmic life cycles in both the spirit and the flesh to finally attain self-conscious, sentient, and spiritual awareness. Then from the spirit and the flesh returning home with everything that they have adventured, attained, dwelled within, and loved along the way. And in this way the team goes on to win the league, or the Etherians get to enter the gates of heaven when the season or the karmic path is complete or balanced and God's ultimate peak potential is had as enlightenment is attained.